I've dealt with some form of loneliness for most of my life, but it really started to hit me when I turned about 27. I moved into my first apartment, my first one-bedroom apartment completely by myself. I spent most of my 20s, my early and mid-20s, living with roommates and just like a variety of like weird situations, some of which were really undesirable. So when I turned about 27, I got a pretty good job. I started finally making enough money where I was able to get my own apartment, move into my own place. And this place was literally perfect for me. Like as soon as I walked in, as soon as they showed it to me, I literally knew like, this is it, you know? And I was so excited. It was finally the day I was waiting for. I was finally going to be able to just live on my own and have things my way. But then when I finally got there, when I finally moved in, it felt really strange. Something really weird happened. I felt extremely isolated and alone more than I ever have before. And during this time, I had a few close friends, but this loneliness was beyond just like needing someone to talk to. You know, it wasn't something that anything external, whether it was a person or a thing or anything like that, nothing was really going to be able to help me. Nothing external was going to be able to help me. It was a very like existential sort of loneliness. I just felt so lost, you know? I felt so disconnected from just the world. And I just don't think that there was any kind of thing or person at the time that would have been able to help me. So during this time, I would try to like keep myself busy, and I did, you know, I worked, I went to the gym, I did all the usual life stuff. I even saw people, you know, saw my friends and stuff like that. But nothing was really helping me. You know, I still felt it no matter what. So I would often at the time go walk around the downtown part of my city. And there was this Chinese restaurant there that I really liked. They did like this natural kind of Chinese food. So I used to go there like, you know, on the weekends. And I would always notice that right next to it, there was a meditation center. And it was one of those things where it's like, oh, that place looks really cool. I got to try that sometime. You know, of course, I never did. I would just, you know, walk by it every time and admire how cool it looks, but never actually go in and do, you know, try meditation. But then there was one day, I remember specifically, like I just felt so hopeless and so lost. My depression was getting worse. The loneliness was getting worse. And I was walking by this place like I usually did, and I finally said, like, I'm just going to go in this time. And I specifically remember that day because it was snowing. So I started going to this place, and they teach you a little bit about meditation. They have their own sort of like style and technique that they do. And they basically force you, well, not really force you, but instruct you, I guess, to just like sit in a room, sometimes alone, sometimes with other people if there's other people there. And they would just pretty much make you sit there and just meditate for at least an hour. And I liked the vibe of the place, you know, I liked the people that were running it. So I started going pretty frequently. I would go like 3 or 4 times a week, and I would just sit there and meditate for about an hour. In complete silence, I would just sit there and focus on nothing but my breath going in and out. And it was really challenging. You know, it was really hard at first. Like my mind would wander all over the place. I couldn't stay focused on my breath. I would just, all of these intrusive thoughts, you know, I could be doing this is a waste of time. Stuff like that. I would get really physically agitated, like I just couldn't sit still for that long of a time. But I really disciplined myself to do it. I really forced myself, you know. And I think it was helpful that there were people that were working there, so that way, you know, they can kind of like, that's why they kind of forced you to do it for an hour, because they knew that that's how long people needed to do it for. Because if you're just doing it on your own, if you get bored, you'll just get up and you'll be like, this is a waste of time, you know. You'll give in to your urge to not want to meditate, you know? And after a week or two of going to this place and meditating every day, I really started to notice a difference in the way that I felt. I started to notice that isolated loneliness feeling was starting to really fade away. And not just while I was meditating, but really all day. Like I just generally started to feel a lot better. I didn't really feel it anymore, you know, or not as much anyway. It really was starting to diminish a lot. And this is when I finally had a realization that the loneliness that we usually feel doesn't actually have anything to do with our external circumstances, but usually it's all in our minds. The more that I withdrew myself from thinking and focused only on my breath, which is only happening right here and now, the more that I only focused on this present moment, the loneliness ceased to exist. Because what you're doing when you meditate, particularly when you anchor your mind to something like your breath, is you're training your mind to be fixated on here and now, because your breath is only happening in this present moment. And once you can sit there and, you know, face the things like the loneliness and the pain and the trauma and just allow it to be there and just sort of let it integrate into you, it no longer ceases to bother you because you're facing it, you know, like it's no longer a thing. And what you really begin to realize is that you were never actually living in reality. You were literally just living life through your mind. You were living in your emotions, you know, the pain you feel, the negative thoughts, the ruminating thoughts, Your whole life was just lived up here. And what meditation does is it truly helps you to become comfortable in your own body. So the past 4 years, I've been meditating pretty consistently. Sometimes life gets in the way and I may neglect to meditate for, periods of time. It happens. And whenever that does happen, I start to feel that loneliness feeling creep up again. It's never as bad as it was before I started doing this, but it does start to sort of come back slightly. I can really feel it kind of creeping its way into my life. But as soon as I start to meditate again, even if it's just for a few minutes, for a couple of days, it starts to wash away. So in a sense, it's kind of like working out, I guess. Like you can't just go to the gym for a couple of days, for a week and expect to see results. Like you might just do it. You might work out for a bit and be like, oh, okay, I'm starting to feel better. I guess I don't need to do this anymore. No, it's something that has to be done consistently for a long period of time. You have to continuously do it for it to be effective. You can kind of look at it too as like medicine. Like someone who's mentally ill or suffering from some sort of illness, they might start taking their medicine and the medicine makes them feel better. But then as soon as they stop taking the medicine, the illness starts to creep up again. It's kind of like that. So meditation in general has become, such an integral part of my life. It introduced me to so many other interesting things like spirituality and yoga. It helps you to really learn a lot about yourself. It's definitely something that I'm very grateful that I discovered. And, one of my main purposes, definitely, especially on this channel, is to try to introduce it to other people and encourage other people to do it too. And I also realize now how grateful I am that I went through that lonely phase, because it forced me to confront something that I was maybe running from through distractions. That's what most people do when they feel lonely, is they just, get a partner, or they start using drugs, or they go out to the bar, That's like the normal human reaction when we don't feel good. When we start feeling bad about something, we'll try to distract ourselves from it. And maybe instead of going to a meditation center and learning how to meditate, I could have found a girlfriend, and that would have distracted me from the loneliness, and that would have put a Band-Aid on it for, a period of time. But I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad that I actually faced what I was feeling and I figured a way out of it, Because now I could probably be alone for the rest of my life and it won't even bother me. I prefer to be alone now, I love solitude. Sometimes you have to understand that sometimes your pain is there for a reason. You have to be willing to face it and work through it. I remember this, even before all of this happened, when I was feeling really depressed, probably not too long before I discovered meditation and started doing all this. I was following this guy on Instagram, and I remember he posts about mental health a lot, and I'm like, hey man, do you have any tips for anything I could take for depression, something I could buy at the vitamin store? And he was like, well, you should try meditation, man. That really helps a lot with depression. And I remember kind of rolling my eyes and just scoffing at it, like, oh, that's not going to help me. How is meditation going to help me? And if that's kind of what you're doing right now, I really encourage you to give it a try. I thought it was just cope and it wasn't really going to help me. But it really did. It still does to this day. I mean, you really don't have anything to lose. You know what I mean? Your ego is going to want to fight with you and tell you that you don't need to do it and that it's stupid. But I hope that this video can, persuade you to at least try it for a period of time. All right. So aside from loneliness, here are some areas that meditation will help you to improve. Okay. I've struggled with most of these actually. So number one is shyness and social anxiety, depression, poor concentration, low self-esteem and insecurity, laziness and difficulty with productivity, stress, healing trauma, premature ejaculation, and erectile dysfunction. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to do a short meditation. Don't save this video for later. Don't say, yeah, I'll do that later. Just don't put it off. Do it with me right now. All right. Here are a few tips before we get into it. When meditating, learn to let everything go. Your body, your mind. This isn't about doing anything, but more so about doing nothing. You need to make sure that everything is completely relaxed. This is the act of completely surrendering to this moment. Okay, you have to relax your entire physical body. That's really important. And that's something that a lot of teachers don't talk about. If you find it really challenging at first, just sitting down in silence is a really good start. Even if you're not technically meditating, just sitting down with no phones, no distractions, just in complete silence, just sitting down for 5 to 10 minutes, even that's probably going to be challenging for you if you're used to constantly running around and doing things, if you're a very active person. I guarantee you, even just sitting still for like 10 minutes and doing absolutely nothing is going to drive you crazy at first. Don't worry about benefits and end results, okay? Meditation itself is the goal. That's all you need to worry about. If you get too focused on some outcome, or is this even going to work? Is this going to make me feel better? You've already lost, all right? You got to understand that meditation itself is the goal. There will be benefits. I'm not saying there won't be, but you don't want to worry about them. They'll come very naturally, all right? Similar to working out. If you lift weights for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, you may not even realize it, but you're starting to feel better, you're starting to look better, and maybe other people notice it on you. They're like, wow, you really have improved a lot. It's going to be similar to that. It's going to be extremely challenging at first. Your mind is going to be all over the place. It's very accustomed to thinking a lot. It's accustomed to jumping from one thought to another. And as a society, we're very accustomed to always doing all the time. We're always doing things. You need to be patient, all right? I can't stress this enough. Even if you don't actually sit down to do a meditation, sometimes like just throughout the day, just taking a minute and just checking in with your breath can be just as effective. All right, like just 30 seconds to a minute, if you're at your desk at work or if whatever you're doing, just breathing in and just focusing all of your attention on your breath. Like sometimes doing that a handful of times throughout the day can actually even be more effective than if you were to actually just sit for 5 to 10 minutes in a row. So that's something else to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to read a short meditation from one of my favorite books. The book is called How to Relax by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a really simple book. He was a monk. He just died recently, rest in peace. But it's a very simple book that teaches you meditation. So I highly recommend it. Something to kind of it's a very short book too. It'll take you like an hour to read. I suggest just keeping it on hand. All right, let's get into that now. All right, so you can either lie down on your back, on your bed for this, or you can sit in a chair. The idea is to just make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can. So allow your body to completely relax. Be aware of the chair that you're sitting on, the mattress that you're laying on, the floor that you're laying on, however you're sitting or laying right now. Just be aware of the surface beneath you, your body contacting the surface beneath you. Allow your body to really sink in to whatever you're sitting on or laying on. Really sink into it and let yourself go. Start to become aware of your breathing. In and out. Be aware of your abdomen rising and falling as you breathe in and out. Breathing in, bring your awareness to your eyes. Breathing out, allow your eyes to relax. Allow your eyes to sink back into your head. Let go of the tension in all of the tiny muscles around your eyes. Your eyes allow you to see a paradise of forms and colors. Allow your eyes to rest. Send love and gratitude to your eyes. Breathing in, bring your awareness to your mouth. Breathing out, allow your mouth to relax. Release the tension around your mouth. Your lips are the petals of a flower. Let a gentle smile bloom on your lips. Smiling releases the tension in the hundreds of muscles in your face. Feel the tension release in your cheeks, your jaw, and your throat. Breathing in, bring your awareness to your shoulders. Breathing out, allow your shoulders to relax. Let them sink into the floor. Let all of the accumulated tension flow into the floor. You carry so much with your shoulders. Now let your shoulders relax as you care for them. Breathing in, become aware of your arms. Breathing out, relax your arms. Let your arms sink into the floor. Relax your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, your wrists, your hands, and all of the tiny muscles in your fingers. Move your fingers a little if you need to, helping the muscles relax. Breathing in, Bring your awareness to your heart. Breathing out, allow your heart to relax. You have neglected your heart for a long time, and you cause your heart stress by the way you work, eat, and manage anxiety and stress. Your heart beats for you night and day. Embrace your heart with mindfulness and tenderness, reconciling and taking care of your heart. Breathing in, bring your awareness to your legs. Breathing out, allow your legs to relax. Release all the tension in your legs, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, your toes, and all the tiny muscles in your toes. You may want to move your toes a little to help them relax. Send your love and care to your toes. Breathing in, breathing out. Your whole body feels as light as a lily floating on the water. You have nowhere to go, nothing to do. You are free as a cloud floating in the sky. Bring your awareness back to your breathing, to your abdomen rising and falling. Following your breath, become aware of your arms and legs. You may want to move them a little and stretch. And now what you want to do as your body is very relaxed is, as you breathe in, you want to say in. As you breathe out, say out. And the idea here is to focus solely on your breath coming in and your breath coming out. Now, if your mind begins to race, you find it hard to concentrate on my voice, that is completely normal, all right? Just keep bringing yourself back to your breath. You're training your mind to be focused on your breath only. Breathe in and out. And now you can do that for as long as you want, but when you feel ready, you can slowly sit up. And when you're ready, you can slowly stand up. So like I said, that is just, I added, the end was a little bit of my own improv, but this is a short relaxation meditation from the book, How to Relax. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I do hope there's literally a million different meditations. If you type in on YouTube, how to meditate, guided meditation, there's so many. It's just the act of doing it consistently is going to be the most challenging part. But anything that's difficult or challenging to do consistently usually is going to be rewarding. You know, that's just life. But we live in a society where everybody's very disconnected from, like, we all just want kind of like instant results, you know, instant gratification. This is a very prolonged sort of gratification, but I promise you, you will see an improvement in the way that you feel. So, all right, guys, hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think below. Thank you. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is I'll put an exercise below in the comments that you could try to do throughout the day or when you have time. So check that out as well. All right, thank you.